Hey, this is Chug, and in this video we're going to be looking at backwards sliding movement. Before we get into that though, I have a challenge for you. So let's say you're positioned about here, and you want to get to the lightning gun. If we come up here, we do a slide jump, we won't make it. We will hit this block. Just to prove it, we'll do it again. Yeah, that was some good speed, and it's just not going to happen. However, if we're going backwards, give me a sec, got to set it up properly. We can do it in one jump. That was a clean jump from the stairs up here. So how is this possible? And that is your assignment. Go into a custom game and look at this particular area and figure out what's going on. You might be able to rewatch that clip again and slow it down. Maybe you figure it out that way. That's not as fun. Do it for yourself and you'll learn it so much better. Okay? Now onto the topic of backward sliding. Now, it is true that backward sliding is difficult, but it's not as hard as you think. The main reasons that it seems and feels so difficult is because it actually plays against your muscle memory that you built up through your forward sliding. Okay, what do I mean by this? So, if you're like me and you put a couple of, well, let's say 100 hours into sliding a slash, you've learned how to snake. By that I mean you've synchronized your right strafe key with moving to the right and left strafe key with moving to the left. So you can do this. Okay, this is fairly common for most slashes. Some people don't use the forward, that's fine. This is still the motion that you will have developed. When going backwards, you have to reverse your mouse direction. So if you're strafing to the left, you need to be looking to the right. If you strafe to the right, you need to look to the left like this. Okay? Now in the moment, if you've never really practiced backward sliding, you may, well, your muscle memory will kick in and you'll do this. You know, you'll want to turn this corner and you'll strafe the wrong way and it won't work. So it's important to develop the ability to incorporate and synchronize these mouse movements like this. Okay? You can do this by just moving around the map backwards. You don't have to, if you bump into walls, it's fine. If you bump into, well, anything, it's fine, just as long as you are synchronizing this movement. Okay? Because you want to build that muscle memory so that in the moment, that's the one that your hands and will prefer. Okay? The other issue, big issue, is that when you're going forward, especially if, well, I'll only speak for myself, I use visual information to determine where I need to go and how I need to actually perform my mechanics. So if I'm here, I look at a point about here, and that's when I actually perform my slide jump. But if I'm going backwards, like this, I can't see. Clearly, I'm lacking this source of information to tell me when I'm supposed to actually execute the jump, and this is what I would think is the actual real hurdle. The main way to get around this is practice, experience. Just take each corner. Okay, when do I actually have to jump for this one? About here. Cool. If you jump too early, too late, just do it over again. You can do that if you want. I didn't do that because it just takes way too much time, and I'm busy right now with university, as well as I have other mechanics to practice in this game. Backward sliding is not high on my priority, but something that you may not realize is that you do have access to visual information, but it's just what's behind. So I can see this line. I can see these blocks. I can see this torch in my peripheral vision. I can use other information, other landmarks, to tell me when I'm supposed to actually perform the slide jump. Okay? So you could just stand back and look at the corner, physically look at what's going on, and just experiment. So let's do it when I see the torch. I need more run up. I didn't see the torch. I anticipated the torch. That was bad. Again, anticipated. It's hard to actually do it this way. But yeah, I saw the torch and then I run around the corner. I've never done that before. Never used the torch to figure out when to do that. That's just pure in-the-moment experimentation, okay? So you just do things like this. Notice components about the map. So if we notice here, so if I'm coming, doing backward slide, this is the teleporter exit. It also corresponds to the stairs. So if I line up and I'm just going straight, I'll always come up the stairs. I'm at the octagon. Is it an octagon? I'm not even sure. Can I... yeah, octagon. Pick up the nail gun. Well, I can strafe back this way. I can use the nail gun as a key to strafe this way. Oh, I see the bottom of the stairs are here. Now I can do a slide jump like... okay, if I turned a little bit more I'd land at Mega. But you get the idea, is you can still use visual information to communicate to you when to trigger the jump. Okay? So that's those are the basic, well not the basic, the fundamental things that I would recommend that you realize when going for backwards, when you're trying to practice backward sliding, is that those two things can be fixed, and those are the biggest issues. The other thing that I would recommend that you do is to outline every mechanic, like every mechanical input that you need to do in order to perform the whole sequence. So you're going to need some initial speed for this when you're actually sliding backwards. How do you build that? You can build it by a strafe jump, a circle jump, or just like a little little slide jump like this. You're going to want to land. You want to be facing the other direction. You've got the speed from the jump you've just done, and then you perform the action. You input the keys, you turn the mouse, you jump. You don't have to. All of these examples are slide jumps. You don't have to jump, but since your slide is always finite, you're going to jump at some point. It's just inevitable, unless you just let it run out. But that just doesn't feel good to me. Anyway, back on track. So you're going to need to get some speed. You're going to need to turn around. You need to land. You need to crouch. You need to turn and actually perform the jump. One key thing that I ran into here was, when do you actually turn? Because you can jump and turn instantly, you can jump and turn at the end. There are some issues here, because I have a very low sensitivity. We'll actually look, and if you input this, you will be very surprised, I have no doubt. So I have 1600 DPI, so you can double this if you have 800 DPI. And this is my FOV. I'm screwing around with that now. I'm actually learning about it, and I'll probably do a video on FOV very soon, because that's something I missed out on before. I didn't have a good understanding, so I couldn't talk about it. Anyway, as a low sensitivity player, turning around is a very arduous task for me. So I want to turn around, be ready to actually have the mouse freedom to actually perform this turn as well. So if you have a high sense, this is not going to be as much of an issue. If you have a low sense and you're having this problem, watch my low sensitivity technique video, because that explains how I do this kind of stuff. Okay? And this is what I've generally found as the right solution, is to jump and turn instantly, and then land with my mouse in the home position. Okay? And then it's just about developing the muscle memory of how, okay, when I'm here, how do I actually turn 90 degrees? How do I turn less than 90 degrees? Let's say we're up here. Let's come up here, because this is better. So if I'm going here and I want to get to Mega, I have to I have to do a slide jump in this direction. This is like, if this was 90 degrees, I'm coming in at this angle. This is a turn of more than 90 degrees, or less, depending on your perspective. So this is different muscle memory than a 90 degree turn. If you're coming in at this angle, that's barely that's like a 30 degree turn. So these are, depending on your angle of incidence, going back to high school maths, you're going to need to have different duration of actually moving your mouse, or another way you could put it is to have a different timing on when you jump. So practicing and refining each of these mechanics, obviously getting a good strafe jump is important. I'm not actually good at strafe jumping. Turning at the right time, landing and crouching, and performing the right, or jumping at the right time as you turn and input the correct keys. Okay? I think that that should be a pretty full explanation as to how to handle each of the mechanics of a slide jump. There are obviously different kind of slides, like at the very beginning, I landed, I slid this way, I slid back this way. It's the same thing. It's the same idea of breaking down the mechanics of the inputs, practicing them and refining them and asking, how do I do this the best way I can? And getting consistency of looking this way at the right time and then counter-strafing at the right time, okay? So just fiddle with it. Practice, experience is the only way you're going to get good at this, because it is sufficiently different from forward sliding that you do have to relearn how to, you're basically relearning how to slide. But yeah, I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.